Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the utter scum that is Twitter and their policies on their community guidelines page with regards to bullying, harassment, and threats. This comes in the wake of J.K. Rowling, writer and women's activist, who has had death threats made against her by a really bad singer-songwriter. The complaints were made to Twitter, and Twitter said, nah, no community guidelines were broken, and it's perfectly acceptable. Really? Anyway, we're going to take a look at this story. I should put myself down in my usual corner, and we will have a discussion about this. Here we go. So here's the piece. J.K. Rowling, death threat outrage. Fury as Twitter says trans activist sinister video hoping to see author in a hearse has not breached its safety guidelines. J.K. Rowling has shared a video of a death threat in a song by a trans activist. Faye Trust Fund Ozu sang about killing TERFs and J.K. hope you fit in a hearse. Supporters of the author rallied around her on Twitter as the backlash continues. Actor James Dreyfus reported the threat to Twitter, but it didn't uphold the complaint. So, Twitter saying that death threats are okay. Anyway, we'll go into this piece. Twitter has been slammed after it failed to uphold a complaint about an alleged death threat against author J.K. Rowling, featured in a music video by a trans activist. Yes, because how come this woman, J.K. Rowling, stands up for the rights of other women, and men don't like that? Men with mental problems don't like a woman standing up for her rights. That's what's the problem here. And so this man who wants to be a woman now sings songs including death threats, but that's acceptable, according to Twitter. Trans activist Faye Trust Fund Ozu included the threatening words as part of a 90s themed video titled J.K. Rowling Diss Track. Let me tell you, darling, J.K. Rowling is a far better writer than you will ever be. The video sees the singer against an animated backdrop with vocals about killing TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists, or, as we like to call them, women, and JK, hope you fit in a hearse. Not for a long time. The Harry Potter novelist posted screen grabs, and this is why I love her. Because she's got something that all these trans men have. Huge balls, right? The Harry Potter novelist posted screen grabs of the song on Twitter and wrote, I'm afraid I can't give a shout out to everyone promising to murder me. There are so many of you and I'm a busy woman. But this one deserves a mention for the 90s rave vibe. See, I love her. I just love her. She does not give a shit. Mind you, when you've got $1 billion in the bank, you can afford not to. But the fact is, she is not going quietly into the night, and she's picked her hill, and she'll die on that hill, but she won't be dying alone on that hill. Actor James Dreyfus reported the activist's post on Twitter, but the social media platform failed to uphold the complaint over the alleged threat as it hadn't broken its safety policies. I guarantee if it was the other way around and the threat was made against a trans, that would have been upheld straight away, because the double standards left-wing wankers of Twitter, the Twitterati mob, will go for blood if anyone even so much as gives a bit of side-eye to their agenda. But as soon as anyone else who's not in their camp is attacked, no, that's fine. You're double-standard hypocritical cocks, aren't you? Dreyfus tweeted the response and said, surprise, surprise. So, death threats, good. Saying women are women, bad. Congratulations, Twitter support. You've hit rock bottom. Seek help. Thank you, James Dreyfus. I think you're marvellous. You may remember him in The Thin Blue Line. Great role. Seen him as a murderer in something as well, and it was very surprising. He's certainly an actor with range. But yeah, standing up there, I think completely right. And look, there it is. What the hell is that? So here's the post JK put. I'm afraid I can't give a shout out to everyone promised to murder me. There are so many of you, and I'm a busy woman. But this one deserves a mention for the 90s rave vibe. Yeah, it's kind of Groove is in the Heart in the background, isn't it? It's a shame the man singing it isn't so groovy. Anyway, A number of Twitter users spoke out to offer their support to the author about the music video's sinister lyrics. Sandy Shirley wrote, and don't call me Shirley, wrote, "Sorry this is happening. You sound so strong for women, but all this must be taking a toll of you. Thank you and be strong, but this should not happen to anyone. Peace to you." Christina Jordan added, "I don't know how you cope with such vile abuse, but I hope you know millions of us are with you, and we thank you." CJ Liberté tweeted, "The aggression is off the scale. I've never seen a movement like this." I know, and the thing is, they're only loud. There's not many of them. They're a tiny, tiny minority, but they've got the biggest mouths, and they're in the wrong. You know, so they're dicks, like they are. They're just dicks. Anyway, others remain critical towards the children's author, with one person stating, "Good job. Now your supporters view trans people as horrors to feel no compassion for. Amazing work as usual." How's that anti-women? Who knows? Actor James Dreyfus has been an outspoken supporter of Rowling and has previously blasted trans activists as misogynistic guys in skirts. Now, I must point out at this point that James Dreyfus is a gay man. He has no axe to grind. He is supporting someone for their view. He doesn't have a dog in this fight. So well done to him. The Gimme 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 Star 52 claimed those involved were angry young anarchist people, angry young men, who harboured a deep hatred of women and what they represent. He also accused them of being behind an alleged campaign of threats to kill and rape women in order to put them back in their place. In February, he told an In Discussion Zoom meeting organised by the Campaign for Common Sense that society appeared to be going backward. He said, "These people speak for nobody but themselves. All my trans friends are as horrified and embarrassed as me. They want none of this, having to label everything. Women are going, 'Please listen to us,' but the response is, 'No, we won't listen.'" A group of trans activists condemned Dreyfus last year when he was among 50 actors, writers, journalists to sign a letter in support of Rowling following backlash to her views on trans people. The Harry Potter author first hit headlines in June 2020 after she mocked an online article using the words "people who menstruate" instead of "women." Again, this is the cancellation of women. Just because you're a woman, you need to be cancelled because some men want to be women. Oh, but we're not women, so we best cancel women so that we can become the women. Fascist much? She was hit by what she described as a relentless attacks after she wrote, "I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wumban, Wimpen, Woomud." The acclaimed novelist then penned a deeply personal essay to address the controversy, revealing she supported the right to transition but opposed policies she felt were harmful to women. Yes, as in putting men in wards with just women, putting men into safe spaces, refuges, putting men into changing rooms where children will be, putting men into fields of sport against women. All wrong. All wrong. The author describes how she was sexually assaulted in her 20s and saying she still feels the scars of domestic violence from her first marriage. She wrote, "If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth." Well done. I agree with that. The idea that women like me, who've been empathetic to trans people for decades, feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e. to male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has lived consequences, is a nonsense. I respect every trans person's right to live any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it's hateful to say so. The issue of transgender rights has simply become polarised, with activists, politicians, academics debating everything from pronouns, single-sex spaces and transgender women's participation in sport. Here's your pronoun. If you're born male, you're a he. If you're born female, you're a she. There is no they unless you're schizophrenic. And schizophrenia is just another mental condition, like transgenderism is a mental condition. Single-sex sports must be maintained. And politicians must be able to define what a woman is and say whether they believe a woman can have a penis. Get them to say it, and then you know who to vote for next time. Anyway, I'm going to come up and roll this off now. So there we have it. The Twitterati bunch think that threatening and death threats, in fact, are acceptable. But to say that if you're a woman, that you believe that you're a woman and only a woman is a woman, that's hate speech, according to Twitter. But not according to, I don't know, 99.9% of the population. Because I'm pretty certain that most people think that giving a death threat to someone is wrong. But at the same time, most people think that women are women. And that men should not be allowed into women's spaces, women's sports, that sort of thing. And what we're going to do about it? It needs legislation, I think, ultimately. But the trouble is you've got all these politicians that are too scared to raise the matter. I certainly think that Twitter should be sued now for not protecting women's rights. I think it's now blatantly broken the 2010 Equality Act, because in that, sex, not gender, sex is a protected quality. And so therefore, they are in breach of that. They're also probably in breach of the various other laws with regards to encouraging hate speech and death threats and things like that. So yeah, I think they should be sued. They should be gone to court and forced to make massive reparations. That'll change their game. But certainly we do need to get every politician to state their position. And if they're incapable of stating their position, they should be voted out of office. Anyway, enough of that. Get to the end of the video now. If you like what you hear and see on this channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notification for future output. Leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.